What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another episode of the Premier League Perspective. We actually don't have that many games to talk about. We're just going to be talking about the midweek games. A lot of teams playing their games in hand this week, which means we have a game in hand on them this week.
Exactly.
So, one good result to talk about. A few kind of the big teams just doing as they were, as they are. But look, let's get straight into it, and let's start off with the Leicester game at Chelsea, or at King Power Stadium against Chelsea. Leicester 2, Chelsea 0, and Chelsea keeping up their terrible form against the Big Six, and just terrible form in general, really.
They were well beaten as well.
Yeah.
Well beaten. It shows how good Leicester are when they take the lead, if you give them the advantage. It was very similar. It was fairly similar to when we played them, because it was a fairly even game up until they scored, and then they shut up shop and they never looked like conceding. And just like against Chelsea, as soon as they took the lead, they never looked like conceding. They pretty much had the better of it on the counter attack as well. They looked threatening. Barnes is really coming into his own. Then you got obviously Vardy, who's doing his stuff. Maddison looks like he's taken his game to an extra level all of a sudden.
So I want to ask you about, did you see Maddison's interview after the game?
I did.
For me, I'm not sure about you, but for me, that interview was a real breath of fresh air. It wasn't like those kind of robotic answers you get from footballers. I mean, he proper spoke about his actual feelings in a post-match game, and I really found that really refreshing from a footballer.
It was nice. It was nice to see. It was very nice to see a player actually open up about like what the manager spoke about before the game, his feelings towards Leicester being top of the table, and how the attitude of the team as well. I agree with you, it was completely refreshing, but we don't get that enough because people are just too ready to pounce on every single word these managers and these players say, and if they say anything out of turn, it can just be even if it's not even bad, it can be completely misinterpreted or taken out of context, or when you say something in a certain way and then it gets put on paper, right? It can maybe made to look like you're saying something else all the time.
I mean, how many times are we seeing quotes taken out of context completely?
Yeah.
Adding 1 + 1 and getting 10, you know what I mean? It's completely ridiculous the way people misconstrue things in the media. But on that James Maddison thing as well, which I was really interested in, was the way he was talking about how he actually was looking into Jamie Carragher's criticism of him on Sky Sports and actually acted upon it and actually listened to it, took it in as constructive criticism, and come back a better player.
Yeah, it was really interesting. It was interesting to see that a player who's actually watching consuming media from the outside, and that's actually affecting his game, and he's actually adapting to it, and he's listening to it, which is something which I thought players generally ignored that kind of stuff and just concentrated on what their coaches were telling them and the management staff and stuff. But it is very interesting to hear that that's what he took in, and that made him want to improve even more. And I think he was right to do that, because Carragher was right in terms of a player like Maddison, who's big. His biggest strengths are his finishing, his shooting from range, being an attacking midfielder behind the striker. He needs to be getting more goals and assists for the player of his quality. And I think that's what Carragher was saying. And I think he started to do that. What a finish that was. Yeah.
He seems to be scoring bangers every week at the moment, James Maddison.
Yeah, really good finish for that second goal. Sorry, I was actually thinking of his goal from the weekend when he hit it in the top corner. This goal was a bad mistake from the defence. The first one was indeed, wasn't it? That was a nice finish from the edge of the area. But what was the defence doing for that second goal? They was played over the top, and I think Vardy was fouled by Rudiger. Doesn't go to Vardy, it falls to Maddison completely free. I don't know where Reece James is, the right back, or Azpilicueta, whoever it was, and bam, second goal. And they were never ever in a million years coming back from 2-0 down. Did they even have a chance at 2-0? I can't remember one chance they created.
Every week on week, I mean, it's great to see it. I love to see it, but Chelsea are they're just not doing good at all. I mean, they are disappointing me and disappointing the general football fan.
Not disappointing.
No, I said I'm happy with the way things are going, but I'm saying on a football level, they're disappointing the general football fan every week now.
Well, yeah. I mean, considering how much I spent in the summer now.
That's what I'm saying. Over 200 million. The memes of Frank Lampard getting fatter and fatter and fatter.
He's about to fill up the whole screen now. Not much room left for him. But yeah, I think...
Do you think he gets the whole season?
I think he's under real pressure. There's already talk of who they're going to line up to replace him. Apparently they want a German speaker.
Tuchel
or Nagelsmann, apparently, but Nagelsmann won't be available till the summer. So they're going to have to wait on that one. There's even rumours of Avon Grant coming back to Stamford Bridge would be fun. But I think if things don't improve, he won't last the season. Because to not even be at the moment, right, how many points they've dropped, it's going to be if you think about how we're in a struggle for top 4, they're in like a much bigger struggle for top 4 than we are. They're like 7 points. They're 7 points behind us.
Yeah, let me get it up here. But look, they let's see how many points.
We're on 29. We're on 33 with a game in hand. So
yeah,
we're 4 points ahead with a game in hand.
Yeah.
So it's we could be pulling away if we start getting points.
If we beat Liverpool this week.
Yeah.
That'll be definitely a step in the right direction. But look, in terms of Chelsea, how long do you give it for Frank Lampard? How many more of these results can he live through?
I can't think. I don't think he's got much longer if he keeps getting bad results. Because he did not spend 200 million for them to be struggling to get Europa League. He didn't. That's a fact. He did it because he wanted them to compete right at the top again.
Yeah, but if you bring in so many, like I said pre-season, if you bring in so many players that are not used to the Premier League, it's always going to take them time to bed in.
I don't get these excuses. I get that. I get what you're saying. It's true. Sometimes when you buy loads of players, right, it takes some time to bed in and it needs time to gel. But why is it when people talk about Mourinho or Guardiola, oh, he always just gets money, he gets loads of money, he can bring in whoever he wants, he can bring in all these players, and that's why he gets success. Yet when other managers bring in loads of players and get loads of money, oh, he needs time to gel, he needs time. Why do they need time? But these managers can do it immediately, but they get bashed for it, for being able to do it immediately. Mm-hmm. But these managers don't do it immediately, but they're all of a sudden, because they didn't do it immediately, it means they need time, not that they're not good enough.
Yeah, it's also in terms of Frank Lampard, he's a very new manager, new to the scene. It's pretty much, what is it? Is it first full season in the Premier League or second full season? Did he not come in halfway through? No, he came in. So, second full season in the Premier League. Before that, he was with Derby. You know what I mean? He's a young manager, so I think he's going to get a bit of leeway from the media in that sense.
Mourinho was a young manager when he first took over at Chelsea. Yeah, and he signed loads of players. He won the league. He won 2 league titles in a row.
Do you not think that that perception of Mourinho in the media came a bit after that though? After the Real Madrid job, after the Inter Milan job, after when he was at Chelsea the second time, that kind of perception was really settling in.
I'm not so sure. I think, look, I'm not saying people don't appreciate Mourinho's qualities. I think they do, but I think he gets labelled a checkbook manager, whereas other managers can spend loads of money. They can get that checkbook out, and then it doesn't work, but they don't get criticised for not making it work.
I think Frank is getting criticised for it though.
Yeah, but everyone's saying he needs time. Everyone in the media needs time. Oh, these players need to gel, all this kind of stuff. They need to get used to the league, which I get, which is partly true. I'm just saying, why do certain managers get more leeway than other managers like that?
Because certain managers have a lot more previous than certain managers. As Lampard, this is the first time he's ever been on a spending spree in his whole career. Okay. In his first short career, where Mourinho and Pep Guardiola have had history of doing it. They've had history at every club of doing it.
Yeah, but clearly what Lampard is showing is even if you have a lot of money, it's not so easy.
Yeah, but I'm saying that Lampard is getting criticised for it, but the criticism's real. Like the criticism for Lampard is completely warranted. He spent 200 million. Not doing well, they're 9th in the league, whatever. But on the flip side, that you've got to see that these players are coming from abroad and they do need to gel.
I don't think that's a good enough excuse. I tell you why. Because even if Werner's not playing and he needs time to gel, he still has good enough players in the squad to make up for that. Exactly. They finished 3rd last season, so they showed even without these players, they're good enough to even be competitive and not have a run of results like this. If Werner and Havertz aren't playing, they've still got players like Kovacic, they got players like Pulisic, they got Hudson-Odoi coming in. They've still got a pretty solid front three, Giroud, Tammy Abraham. These are players who have good quality and if managed correctly could be doing a lot more than they're doing right now. So adding to that, you have Werner and Havertz and Ziyech and all these players you've signed. If you can't make it work, I'm sorry, you're not good enough. And I think Lampard at the moment, he's on the brink, but like Ollie's been on the brink many times, so he's still got a bit of time to turn it around.
Arteta was on the brink. Everyone's on the brink at some stage.
But someone's been on the brink, exactly, which is true. But Lampard is under real pressure right now. For sure, he's under real pressure because they're sitting 8th in the table and we're halfway through. So he's really got to turn it around quickly. Otherwise, I think he could be in real trouble. I
always thought 3rd last season for Chelsea was a bit of a false position for them anyway. Because I felt that I don't know if you guys saw the video that we reacted to our old content yesterday, but in my predictions, I said that Chelsea were only 3rd, but kind of on default because everyone else was just so bad.
Correct.
And I think
And
it's
the
showing
amount of
now.
points they got that season was usually is enough for like 5th or 6th. It's
Exactly.
not usually 3rd
Exactly.
or 4th, wherever,
Exactly.
whichever.
So I always thought they were in a false position last year. I think Lampard is getting found out a bit, but again, I still think his players need to gel. So I think Lampard is not doing a great job, but he's not being helped by the players that need to gel as well.
Fair.
Let's move on to West Ham 2, West Brom 1. Big Sam, stuttering start at West Brom.
Yeah, he got a win on the weekend, but I said I wasn't that impressed with the win, even though they got it over the line.
Yeah.
And against West Ham, they actually didn't play too badly, but you felt like West Ham were always in control and they could pretty much score whenever. And they got a goal in the break. West Brom, nice goal by Pereira, but Antonio with a really nice finish, and he has been seriously good since lockdown. Seriously good. His goals and assist ratio is mad for a striker who's not even a striker.
I mean, at the back end of last season, he scored what, like 9 games in a row, or
Something
like
got
seven?
Four. He got
7
4
games
in one game.
Yeah,
right?
7 games in a row, or was it nine goals in 7 games, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
And then this season, he's had his injury problems, hasn't he? But when he's been fit, he's done well.
That's the only thing that's ever held him back at West Ham is his injury problems. But
Yeah.
since Moyes has moved him to striker, hasn't really looked back. He's really improved his finishing. He's improved his movement. He's always had that strength about him, so he's using that in the right way. And it's not the first time Moyes has done this, because if you remember, the first time he went to West Ham a couple years ago, they had Arnautovic. And he wasn't a striker, and he converted him into a very good striker. So much so that a lot of the clubs above West Ham were looking at him. But obviously, he moved to China in the end. But he would have been probably a good signing if he moved to a higher Premier League team. And he looks like he's doing the same with Antonio. And you've got to say this is probably some of the best stuff Moyes has done since his Everton job. Probably because he's doing quite well. You got to say that they're 7th in the table.
I'm super impressed with the way they're going at the moment, because both of us had them as favourites to go down.
We did.
we said West Ham were going to go down. We thought they were going to have an awful season. We thought David Moyes was going to completely flop at West Ham again.
We were wrong.
And we were completely wrong. And they're having a really good season. I think they're only 3 points behind us or something like that.
They are
but we got a game
1
in hand.
point behind us with a game in hand.
There you go.
We have a game in hand.
So they could be challenging for Europe this season, West Ham.
Yeah, I mean potentially. I don't think they will, but they have been really good.
They might not
this
get it,
season.
but they'll be challenging.
I don't know if they will come the end of the season. I don't know if they will, but I think they'll be in the mid-table. But I think that even that represents an improvement for Moyes, and I think he's done a really good job. He's made them really solid as well, hard to beat. And he's got with Bowen as well, who's
He's also really
starting to really
good
play
player.
well. He's played really well so far this season. That Kufal I like, or Sufal, the right back.
Yeah.
I've been impressed with him. He's looked really good. So I think he's made some astute signings. Souček as well. A couple of those two Czech Republic boys come out of nowhere.
Souček, yeah. Where did he come from?
out of nowhere, but they clearly their scouting network
He's like
is
the
good.
modern day Fellaini, isn't he?
Yeah, and their scouting network seems to be on point because no one knew these players yet. They've found them for cheap, and they're doing really good. They're doing really well. So I think Moyes doesn't get the credit he deserves for what he's doing in this job. And ever since he left Everton, things haven't gone right for him. But I feel like he hasn't really. I feel like there's still a good manager in there in Moyes.
At the end of the day, he left Everton to go to Man United. That Man United job
was a poison chalice,
exactly.
yeah.
It was a poison chalice from the beginning. So that kind.
They never should. I know it's easy in hindsight to say blah, 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 and I know they finished 7th in that season or something, but I still think they should have given him a second season. Because everyone knew before that season, everyone was saying, it's going to be impossible to live up to it. And then it becomes impossible. But he's got to be sacked. No, just chill. Give him a season and then see where he can go. But
you could probably say the same about all the Man United managers.
A lot of probably.
Moyes, Louis van Gaal, Mourinho.
Then he went to Sociedad. Obviously, the language barrier, that was never going to work. That was a stupid move. Went to Sunderland, who no one can help Sunderland right now because they're League One.
He's basically made bad decision after bad decision.
But the thing is, the first time I went to West Ham, he wasn't bad, but they let go of him. He actually kept them up, and he did quite well. But they let go of him because of this perception that Moyes was a finished manager. They only had him for 6 months.
Yeah.
And then they clearly realised they made a mistake, so they brought him back. Yeah. And now he's actually doing it. Now, given time, he's showing, what he can do.
Well, let's see how the rest of the season goes. But first half of the season has definitely been a good half for West Ham. Definitely playing above expectation. But let's move on to the next day. Well, let's start off with Man City 2, Aston Villa 0. An absolutely brilliant football game this was.
Excellent
really
football game, and a big controversy with the goal.
Yeah,
Big controversy with the goal.
How was that allowed? I don't understand.
If you remember, I think I don't know who the referee was. Was it Peter Walton? No, it was John Moss.
Yeah.
John Moss was the referee, right? And he was the referee when Spurs drew 2-2 at Anfield. When Wanyama scored that cracking goal.
Well, that was the one where they had that famous clip with Ericsson on the sidelines, and they were like, "Was it a penalty?"
John Moss was talking to the assistant.
Yeah,
and he was like, "Did Lovren touch the ball or something?" And the assistant's like, "I think so. I'm not sure." And then John Moss like, "I'm just going to give it." But what's interesting is this happened in that game. So the ball was played through to Kane, who was offside, but Lovren went to clear it. And he completely sliced the clearance, and it fell to Kane, who rounded Karius and obviously gave a penalty. And everyone was saying, "Why isn't that offside?" Because the ball was played to Kane, but in clear offside position, but it wasn't given offside because Lovren made a deliberate action to play the ball to swing, and he made clear contact with the ball to clear it. He just sliced it, and because he made that deliberate contact, it wasn't given offside. So people saying this has never happened before, whatever, it's not true because I remember that happening in that game. Now, this one's a bit different, though. This one is a bit different to that because Mings has taken one touch on the ball and then he's been tackled immediately after taking that one touch. So I think that's different to Lovren getting a clearance out there and slicing it to Mings having one touch on the football and then being tackled. Because I think Rodri is getting an advantage by closing down Mings while he's controlling the football and then being tackled. I think the fact that Rodri moved towards the ball when he's offside and then he ends up touching it, I think that should have been flagged. I think the rule is it has to be a deliberate action from the defender, but despite the fact that he did get control on the ball, I still think it should have been given offside.
I agree.
I still think so. I think it was the wrong decision.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I'm not saying these kind of decisions are getting week in, week out, but with VAR and everything, these decisions should not be. They should not be getting decisions wrong. They should not. It's just simple as that, to be honest.
Look, this one is kind of open to interpretation because it's whether you think Mings' action is deliberate and it's enough to reset the play or not. I don't think it is. The referee did think it was. The referee did think it was, though.
Did he explain himself afterwards?
Not him, but the other referees have explained it, and the Premier League did a statement explaining it, and that's what they said. They said it was deliberate action from Mings. So yeah, so this law is a bit open to interpretation, but I think but according to this law, then someone can goal hang, you can just smash it into the defender, make sure he tries to control it, then close him down and tackle him from behind.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what you can do. That's what they're saying is legal, and I don't think that should be. So I think Dean Smith was right to be aggrieved. I think it was a definite bad decision. VAR should have just said, look, he's offside and ruled it out. But this technicality apparently was enough. And I think Villa were hard done by, and it was a really close game. It was a really, as you say, end-to-end. One of the best 0-0s would have been a 0-0 hadn't before that goal that you'd ever seen. And Villa missed a host of chances. Man City missed a host of chances, and it looked like it was going to be one of those days where a goal wasn't going to come. But obviously, great goal from Bernardo Silva, and then a penalty near the end, sealing it. And Man City still haven't conceded a goal, still winning games and trudging on. However, Kevin De Bruyne now out for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it's going to be a big loss for them, Kevin De Bruyne, but I still feel they got enough quality to see it through. I mean, the squad that they have there is just insane. Man City, and I think they're the best team in the Premier League at the moment. We say that, yeah, Aston Villa did have a lot of chances. Man City had a lot of chances. It was just a really, really good ding-dong battle, wasn't it? A great Premier League game, great advert for the Premier League, even though there was no goals. Well, there was no goals until late. I still thought it was a proper encapsulating game.
Yeah, it was.
I wasn't bored for 1 second.
Grealish as well was at his
absolute baller. Grealish,
so good. He is so good. Every game he's making a difference. He's making an impact. Jack Grealish, so impressive. And for a player who's not blessed with unbelievable pace, he just seems to glide past players like they can't get near him. And you would think they would be able to. How much analysis goes into the Premier League? You'd be able to stop a player like Grealish who relies on.
He's a magician with the football at his feet.
I don't know how he does it.
He's a magician.
Every time he seems to always have time, always have space. If a player engages him, he's able to just weave past him and get past him.
I would love him at Spurs, man. I really
that boat is unfortunately big.
Love him.
He's now on £100 million player, unfortunately. £100 million player, and we could have had him. We didn't.
For 4 million.
Could have had him, and we bundled the deal, and now we're stuck in a position. We're still in the situation now, watching him just be unbelievable for Villa week in, week out, and we could have really done with him, but is what it is. You can't go back. He's a real great player. I think him and Ndombele, I think this season are two of the best dribblers, I think, of the season so far. But yeah, Villa. But unfortunately, I think now with that loss, they've had so many games in hand on us, but I don't think it can overtake us now.
Yeah, it's creeping up a bit on them. I mean, again, Villa are another team that I've been really impressed with this season. I mean, they're another team which I put as my favourites to go down because obviously this was before they made all their signings and what have you.
Me too.
You got to be impressed with Aston Villa, and in terms of Dean Smith, he's doing a really good job. But what did you make out of his comments to the referee?
Well, he said, "Did you get juggling balls for Christmas?" Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He must have come up with that pretty much off the cuff, but that was a great comment. And yeah, I feel for him for that moment, because I think we all would have been aggrieved and feel robbed after that. But to turn it around like he has, because he could have been sacked at any point last season. Literally, pick any month, pick a random point last season, he could have been sacked at that point, and they stuck with him.
Credit to the Villa board for that.
Yeah, because they stuck with him. I think a lot of other boards would have panicked and sacked him, but they didn't. They stuck with him. They stayed up on the last day, and now look where they are. And it's not the first time this kind of thing has happened. You think of Leicester, you think of other teams who have just stayed up and kept that togetherness, not sacked the manager, and then all of a sudden you go to the next season and they can build on that momentum of staying up. So maybe it's a lesson for other clubs, but
also coupled with spending a lot of money.
They spent a bit. They did spend a bit, but most Premier League teams have a lot of money. So
because I don't think their squad was good enough. I think their squad kind of finished where they kind of deserved to finish on quality. They've added a lot of quality to that squad this season, and it's showing.
Yeah. Also, I think like Douglas Luiz, even though he was there last season, he's really come on a lot this season. John McGinn was out for a lot of part last season, big injury, and now he's come in and he's become one of the best box-to-box midfielders I've seen. Really great quality. Bertrand Traore is decent.
Would you take John McGinn at Spurs?
Yeah,
you would. Really, a replacement for Sissoko, like a long time.
Yeah, I think he's better than Sissoko.
So let's say John McGinn,
him and Højbjerg.
John McGinn, Anguissa, or Basuma.
I think Basuma.
Basuma out of the three.
Basuma.
Rank them in
Basuma, McGinn, Anguissa.
All right. Let us know in the comment section below, out of those three players, who would you like to take as a replacement for the box-to-box role at Tottenham Hotspur in the comment section below. Let's move on to another team from Manchester who just keep plodding away, keep getting result after result at the moment. This time at Craven Cottage, where Manchester United beat Fulham by 2-1. Another goal from Paul Pogba, a really special goal this time.
Another time they come from behind. You know what? When they went behind, I didn't even celebrate because I knew.
I mean, they went behind so early.
No, but it's not only that. They've done it just time after time this season. They've come from behind to overturn it, and they did it yet again. I was very frustrated watching this game because despite the fact, I think in the first half, obviously they dominated Fulham and it was 1-1. But Fulham throughout that game created so many chances, especially at 2-1, to get an equaliser or get a goal, and just kept spurning chance after chance after chance after chance. It was just very frustrating because they had one chance against us and they scored, and they against Man United they're creating loads of chances, and it's like they couldn't hit a barn door.
Areola.
And then Areola has a worldie against us, and we have to score an unbelievable goal to kind of beat him, and then he puts an absolute clanger for that first goal.
Of course.
So that was really frustrating. But
didn't Carl Darlow do something similar or something? He had a mad game with us, and then the next game he made a mistake or something against Liverpool. I can't remember, something like that.
Not Liverpool.
No, it was Guaita. That was it.
Guaita, yeah, against Liverpool. He had a mad game against us, and then he shipped 7 against Liverpool. But look, it is what it is. You can't dwell on it too much. But it was another game. I'm sitting back and but this was a bit different to the Burnley one for me, because Burnley, I was really impressed because they were patient. They controlled the game, and it always looked like they were going to win and score. This wasn't the same. I wasn't as impressed with this one. They kind of got away with it a bit, I feel. But it was another win, you got to say, and another win from behind, which is really impressive. And you got to say Pogba, again, turning up, and he's ever since those Raiola comments, he's really turned up again, as I said before, and another special goal on his left foot from about 25 yards, top corner. And if this is going to be his final hurrah for Man United, it looks like he wants to go out with a bang. Yeah,
I mean, Pogba's really turning up, but I think Bruno's gone off the boil a bit the last couple of games.
I didn't think it was that bad.
He's not kind of hitting the heights as he was. I mean, a lot of things that he's trying aren't coming off that often as they were kind of a few weeks ago, I feel. But anyway, Man United, you've got to give them credit. I think it was a well-deserved win for Manchester United. In the first half, they could have got at least 3 or 4 goals, if not more. So it was a bit similar to our game, in the first half where we should have scored a lot more goals.
I don't think they created as many chances as we did. But I think the big difference was, they did create chances, but we pretty much conceded 1 chance that whole game, and they scored from it. And they conceded a good 5-6 chances, and they only conceded 1. And that was the frustration that Fulham couldn't be as clinical as they were against us. But you can't rely on that every week. But that was the kind of performance where I feel like Man United could definitely slip up in the future. But we'll see, because they keep getting those wins, and now they're they're 7 points clear of us now. But we do have a game in hand on them, so it's not the end of the world. But United really are consistently getting those results. So that's really impressive.
And when you look at Fulham, you think they're good enough to stay up?
I think performance-wise they are, but they're just not getting the wins. And now that's 7, even though that's 7 games where they've played well, it's now 7 games without a win. 7, that's a lot. Yeah. So whether there will just be one of those things where, they give it a good go, but they just fall short. It might be because they need to start getting wins on the board if they're going to really push for it.
And another player who I keep talking about, who really impressed me again, was Ademola Lookman. I mean, he's really turning on this season after he was at Leipzig last year, I believe. And before that, where was he? At Everton.
Yeah.
And he didn't really do well at either of them. And now he's come to Fulham, playing well in the Premier League. And I'm really liking the look of him.
He has, ever since he's come into... I actually think a big turning point in his season was that penalty. It was that penalty, because he had that. It was there was a big moment for them, because it was last minute. They could have, I don't know, equalised or won the game. I'm not sure which one. And obviously he chipped it. He did a Panega, completely screwed it up, and came under a lot of criticism for that. But since then, he has turned around his fortunes. He's really been a big player for Fulham. He's been a big threat. And you got to say that's a very important mentality for a young player. So when you have that, when you're under that much criticism and pressure from screwing up so badly, to turn it around and not feel sorry for yourself and just prove everyone wrong, I think it's impressive. So I think he's having a good season, and maybe he's one who could look to move if they get relegated.
All right, and let's move on to the big one last night at Anfield, where Liverpool finally lost after 3 years and I think it's 8 months or 9 months.
Nearly 4 years,
3 years and 9 months without a loss at Anfield. And Sean Dyche and Burnley trudge over to Anfield. And you know what? The commentator was saying last night how Burnley, I think the last 5 years, have beaten the champions. They beat that Chelsea team. They beat Leicester. They beat Man City.
And they beat Chelsea again, I think.
And the only one they didn't beat... No, they beat everyone. I think apart from the Man City team last season, I think they beat everyone. So you got to give credit to Sean Dyche. He knows how to play a big game. 1-0 against Liverpool at Anfield. And you got to say they were well worth the points, I think. The way they defended...
They defended really well.
I know Liverpool were just huffing and puffing the whole game, but it's credit to the defensive shape of Burnley, that result. I mean, they
were fantastic. They obviously rode their luck because Ben Mee plays Origi through on goal in the first half, and he hits the bar. So they needed that to go their way, and it did, luckily for them. I think they were definitely lucky to win, in my opinion. They weren't lucky to draw. I think they're well worth a point. To get the win, I don't think they deserve to win.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think they got a mistake at the back, and they obviously made Liverpool pay for missing all those chances. Nick Pope, I thought, had an absolutely fantastic game. Really solid, really commanding his box, and made some really crucial saves from Salah and from other players as well. So I think he was really fantastic for Burnley. And they just made it very, very difficult for Liverpool. They didn't make it easy at all. They said to Liverpool, if you're going to score a goal, you need to be perfect. You need to either score a really great goal or rely on one of our mistakes, and that didn't happen for them. And I think Liverpool struggled a few times against that approach. You think of Newcastle, they drew 0-0. You think of us, I know they won, but the goals they scored, it needed luck, and they got that luck against us. They didn't get it against Burnley. That's pretty much the difference. And I think. Having those two centre backs, I know Matip played, but Fabinho was there. I always felt like on the break, if Burnley had more quality, they could have definitely hurt Liverpool much more, because they had 100%. So many areas on the break, Burnley, 100%. Where if a right ball they could have been in, and they just could keep screwing up. A bit like United as well. A bit more quality, they could have really hurt Liverpool. So I feel like there's definitely chances there because they pushed so far up, and they're not as dominant and in keeping possession as they used to be. The one player I actually thought did really well and probably deserved more was Thiago. I was actually really impressed with Thiago.
He never passes. He never lets a pass go astray, does he,
doesn't.
Thiago?
He can thread it through the eye of the needle time after time, and I was really impressed with him. But obviously he was let down a lot by the other team. I think they rested Salah and Firmino up for the hour. I think probably looking at the United game on the weekend and Spurs coming up as well. So probably they thought they could get some rest. But Origi and Shaqiri didn't do much for me. They weren't that impressive. And at the end of the day, Liverpool's struggling. They're struggling for sharpness.
Yeah, they are. And obviously 5 games without a win now. When you look at their form over the past 2 years, you would think this kind of form is unthinkable from a team like Liverpool. The best team in Europe over the past 2 years, you have to say that. But winless in 5. Lost their
2 defeats and 3 draws?
Yeah, I believe that. And they've lost their first game in Anfield nearly 4 years now. But Dr. Tottenham here to see you now.
Exactly.
Obviously, their next game is Tottenham at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, and I actually am fearing the worst now after their form they're on.
You're fearing the worst?
I'm fearing the worst.
I think it's good. I think it's a good thing because I know Mourinho's going to want to take advantage of that. He's not going to underestimate Liverpool. I can assure you that. He's not going to underestimate Liverpool.
I just feel that Liverpool are just going to respond now.
No. I think they'll try, but I think Mourinho, trust me, he's going to make it as difficult as possible for Liverpool to do anything in this game. And I'm not saying I'm confident that we're definitely going to win or anything, but I'm just saying I'm confident that we're going to give Liverpool a very difficult game. And I don't think, even if Liverpool do respond to their bad form, I'm still confident that it's going to be a very, very close game. And Mourinho's not going to make it easy for them.
The thing is, I really don't want to take a draw in this game. First of all, the form they're on. Us being at home, the way the game went at Anfield, I think we need 3 points in this game.
Of course we
minimum.
We want 3 points. I think drawing at home to Liverpool is not the worst result in the world. I think, look, obviously I'll be disappointed. I wouldn't take a draw right now. But if we do end up with only a draw, it is what it is. You can't cry too much about that kind of result.
Well, yeah, but you can say the same about a result against anyone. I mean,
no,
we drew against Fulham.
And we are crying about that result. Trust me.
And I probably will be crying about it if we draw against Liverpool.
I don't think we would. I think you can't look back over a season and think that draw against Liverpool cost us. You can look at that.
Well, you can look at the form they're on.
Even on the form they're on.
Losing at home to Burnley
doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Liverpool is still Liverpool. They've still got seriously quality players, and they're obviously. I agree. They're going to want to turn up and they're going to want to respond to their form. I'm just saying. I know Mourinho is going to make it very, very difficult for them. He's not going to come out and be like Man City or anything and try and dominate the ball. He's going to sit back. He's going to make sure Liverpool can't use their quick passing and that pace in behind and clog up the central areas. He's going to make it very, very difficult, and he's going to try and exploit the space in behind. And I'm sure we can definitely get a result. But if we do end up getting a draw, you can't obviously it depends how the game goes. But if we do end up drawing this game, that's not the result that costs you. It's the results against Fulham. It's the results against West Ham. It's the results against Palace. It's the results against Newcastle. These are the ones that are costing us. But that's why we're relying on us getting 3 points, because we've lost so many points. That's why we need 3 points. We do in reality need 3 points in this game because of those results.
Yeah,
but
especially as they're only 1 point ahead of us with a game in hand.
Yeah,
we got a game in hand.
Exactly. So we got a game in hand. So I agree with you in that sense. But at the end of the day, in an isolated game, we can't really demand 3 points in this game because it's a game against one of the best teams in the country. So you just got to try your best. Now I'm sure we can get a result, but I'm not gonna say that I'll be, that disappointed if it was only a draw. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. I kind of looking at it a different way, and I actually will be disappointed if we don't get 3 points.
I never said I wouldn't be disappointed. I said that disappointed.
Yeah, well, I think I will be that disappointed.
More disappointed against Fulham?
No, obviously not.
That's what I'm saying. That's my point.
But I still will be disappointed, and I'm saying that with a team like Liverpool, the way they are, the way they're playing at the moment, not winning a game in 5 games, it just shows how off the ball they are compared to like their kind of last year and the last 2 years. So we have to be looking for 3 points, and I think a draw is actually a bad result on Thursday. I really believe that.
I never said it. I didn't say it was a good result. I just said it's a result you can't complain about.
But I will complain about it.
Yeah, I'm sure we all will. But yeah, look, but that defeat to Burnley is definitely bad. Klopp not beating Mourinho's home record. Mourinho still holds the record.
Mourinho's was 68, wasn't it?
Huh?
68 games.
No, it was like 100 or something.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, unbeaten at home because it
Wow.
lasted 2 spells at Chelsea. So really,
2 spells at Chelsea.
yeah. So very, very impressive from Jose to stay unbeaten for that long at
I
home.
want to see him do it at Spurs.
Yeah, hopefully he can start a run at Spurs. Hasn't quite got off the ground yet in terms of that, but he had that aura about him that he can never be beaten at home when he was back at Chelsea, and it shows how great that home record was because Klopp I don't think came even near it, even though they went unbeaten for 4 years. So really impressive, but hopefully we can take advantage of their bad form on Thursday. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, me too. Well, anyway, that is it. That is your Premier League's perspective this week. We have got FA Cup this week. Oh, it's not even this weekend. We've got FA Cup Monday night. So come and join us on Monday night for the watch along for Tottenham against Wickham. We'll have a watch along and a post-match fan show for you guys. So come and join us on Monday night for all the live content. Thank you for joining us today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.